Let's look at some of the steps in task 2. In Excel, we can use lots of formulae to find out the things that are of interest to us. So, for example, if you want to count the numbers in the range in cells A2 to B11, we can write this formula. So, the cell A2 is this one and B11 is this one. So, our task is to find the number of numbers that are there in this range between A2 to B11. So to obtain this, we can type a formula. We can arrive at this formula by putting an equal to sign, and I'm writing this formula as you can see in column B15, in column B, row 15, so cell B15. So as I type this formula, I get some hints from Excel, that's fine. And I would say equal to count A2 to B11, and I will get an answer of 10, because in this range A2 to B11 the total number of numbers is 10. From 200 to 600 there are 10 numbers. That's why we get this answer. On the other hand, if you change the formula to count A, so we could do the same thing with count A. It will count the number of character strings. Count A2 to B11 will give us 20. The reason that it's 20 is because each one of them is a character string. Northeast is a character string, 200 is a character string, so every one of them will be counted. So we altogether we have 20 character strings in this range. All right. So now coming back to the next step, we have equal to today, that inserts today's date. So if you want to place today's date somewhere in the Excel spreadsheet, in this case I'm using I1, so I can simply type in today and it gives me 2018 January 10th. That's when I'm recording this tutorial. So this date is shown here. Similarly, the next formula is average of E2 to E11. I think the power of Excel comes when we start using formula like average, sum if, and when we step into other things like pivot tables that we would see later on. But average is a very, very easy formula to use, and let me just get this formula in E13. So I go to E13 and I say average. I type in average of E2 to E11, E2 colon E11, and these parentheses are required for us to put the range. The range always has to be between these parentheses, right? So average of E2 to E11, I type in this formula, I press enter, and I get the average of all these numbers here, right? If you want to change the format of these numbers to dollars and cents, you can select all these. You can select all these by highlighting them using your mouse, and then right click on this, go to format cells, and under format cells you have a number of options, and you choose currency with 2 decimal places, dollar symbol. These are the default for you, and if you choose OK, all these numbers are shown with dollars and cents. All right. So the next formula that I would like you to consider is the max and min. The max and min are, I'm going to type those formula in E14 and E15. So max, for example, max of E2 to E11 will give me this. $160 is the maximum in these numbers, and the same thing I can also copy this formula and paste it and change it to min. So that's also another acceptable way of developing this formula or experimenting with this formula. Min is 2095, as you can see. So those are shown in cells E14 and E15. The next formula that I want you to think about is the number of days between two dates. Right? So we have C11 to C2, that is the column C contains the date ranges. So if I go to, for example, C13 and I type days equal to days C11 to C2, it shows the number of days between C11 and C2. In this case, I have run into a difficulty, so I'm sure I have not used the formula quite correctly. So instead of giving a range, I have to give two dates, the end date and the start date. So instead of a colon, I have to give a comma here. All right. So if I look at 3/6/2015, this one is the number of days between C11. C11 is March 6, 2015, and C2 is January 2nd, 2015. The number of days between those 2 days is 63 as computed by Excel. The same thing you can also compute the net working days. All right. So if I use this formula, net work days, between the start date and the end date, once again I'm going to give C11 followed by C2 as the ending date. Starting date is C11, March 6th, ending date is C2, January 2nd. Net working days would give me the working days in between those two numbers, in between those two dates. The working days, it excludes any holidays, it also excludes the weekends. The normal regular working days are computed in this. You might wonder why it is showing a negative number. In this case, for us to get the net working days, you have to give the beginning date first or the lower date first, followed by the higher date. So if I flip these arguments, so for example, if I type in net work days C2 comma C11, I will get a positive number here. All right.